attorney Laura Anthony, founding partner of Legal and Compliance, a full-service corporate securities and business transactions law firm. Today is a special LawCast segment featuring Dara Albright. Ms. Albright is a leader in crowdfinance and founder of Dara Albright Media and Fintech Revolution.tv. In today's segment, Ms. Albright is interviewing Dina Ellis Rochkind of Paul Hastings. Dina focuses on fintech and financial services.
Many of you may know me from some of my thought leadership in the crowdfinance space and for my ongoing coverage of everything fintech, regtech, crowdfinance, peer finance, digital finance, whatever names you want to call it these days. But everything I think falls under this new modern, this new umbrella of modern finance. Anyway, I'm really both honored and excited to be reporting this new series for LawCast. For those of you who are listening for the first time, LawCast is an innovative podcast series that provides timely, in-depth coverage of the most important news in the small cap industry. It's run by prominent securities attorney Laura Anthony, who's been on the forefront of this digital finance revolution and working with clients, helping them navigate this new regulatory structure so that they could successfully raise capital in this new environment. Now, you might be asking, and by the way, I'll give a little. I got this hat that Laura had sent me, so I figured I would just put that on for a second. Because I love baseball hats, and this is the one for LawCast. Very excited about that. Now, you might be asking, Dara, you're not a lawyer, so why are you reporting for LawCast? And true, I am not a lawyer yet, but I did once get to play a trial attorney in the 5th grade when I defended this blonde girl named Goldilocks against criminal claims made by a family of 3 bears. True story, but one for another day. The truth is, I really thought this would be a great opportunity to interview some of the leaders who are reshaping the regulatory landscape for financial services. And I thought, who better to start with than Dina Ellis Rochkind, who is a woman that played an instrumental role in the drafting and the passage of the Jobs Act. Dina has over 2 decades of experience on Capitol Hill. She served as a senior staff for various congressional committees and for Senator Pat Toomey. Dina also served in the George W. Bush administration as Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Treasury Department. She's been involved in drafting major pieces of legislation over the past 20 years, including the Bipartisan Jobs Act, where she was the lead staffer in the Senate. And Dina, it is such an honor to have you, and really great to have you here, especially on this first one.
Well, Dara, thank you. I'm honored that you would choose to have me speak. And I am an attorney, but I always feel like I'm not a real attorney because I spent my whole career mainly on Capitol Hill and doing government affairs work. But what I say is I spent most of my career writing the laws, and then everyone else goes and then messes them up.
That's great. You know, one of the things I also want to talk a little bit about too, you know, or maybe even some changes or you know, things that we could fix. I mean, one of the things, I mean, I think, you know, as far as the on-ramp and getting coming in, I kind of call it like, you talk about the on-ramp. So, you know, that's getting the companies to the public markets. And then I kind of talk about the highway is the actual markets, right? Getting them on the highway. And I think, you know, now we've got this, you know, legislation, we've got the rules that are I think set and secure and really, you know, workable and getting, you know, and you're seeing a lot of the companies now, really great companies starting to use them to get onto that highway. I think we need to talk a little bit about maybe some legislative fixes or regulatory fixes. What can we do to actually fix the highway? I mean, I think that there are definitely some infrastructure problems on that highway. Some of those, you know, some of those roads have potholes. I guess we could say that. And, you know, just as an example, with Reg A Plus, there is a rule. What's been happening now, some companies are going Reg A Plus. We're seeing them get to NASDAQ. We're seeing them get to the New York Stock Exchange. So, we're seeing them on these, big, the major exchanges. The problem is that once they get there, they're smaller cap companies, more thinly traded, and then we see some of the manipulators and abusive shorters come in and look at that as an opportunity to manipulate the markets, maybe line their own pockets. One of the things that I heard, and doing some research on this, that there's with Reg A Plus, there is a rule that basically says that a Reg A Plus cannot be shorted more than 10% from the day before, which is great. The problem is that the first day that it actually goes live, there is no day before. So, theoretically, they could just come in and, short it down to zero.
That's for that first day, right?
Right. So how could we fix something like that? Is that something that could be fixed legislatively? Is that is that through the SEC? What maybe could you recommend on resolving that?
Well, I'm a believer that the SEC has the authority to fix this, and that the SEC has the authority to fix this. It wouldn't first of all, they have broad authority when it comes to the Jobs Act. So I was very comfortable that we weren't going to have to worry about investors. But back in 2008, that's the easiest example. The SEC stepped in and dealt with shorters. So this is not an issue that that hasn't occurred before. So they certainly have that authority. The issue is really bringing it to the SEC's attention. And, there are a couple ways of bringing it to their attention. One is meeting with some of the key players over at the SEC. And then the other is, talking to Hill staffers to bring their awareness to this. This is something that anyone that the SEC would be very concerned about because, new Chairman Clayton has made it very clear that one of his main priorities is capital formation, but seeing more companies go public. And Reg A Plus is the way to go public.
It is.
And there is this symbiotic relationship between Congress and the SEC. And so I think, you talk about a great company like, Chicken Soup for the Soul and those kind of companies going in and talking to some of the key players at the SEC and up on Capitol Hill. I think that kind of thing would make it easier to see the changes that you need.
That's great. So that's what we should do even as an industry and really just kind of take action in that. I think we're just scratching the surface here. I think this really is the beginning of a new era for finance. And it really is an incredible time. I mean, it's an incredible moment in history. And with that, I would just like to end this here and say, Dina, thank you. It's been really a pleasure, and look forward to talking to you again. And
thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for being out there. Really, you've really helped the Jobs Act come to life, and I'm grateful for you for doing that.
Thank you, Dara, for joining us today. I'm securities attorney Laura Anthony, founding partner of Legal and Compliance and producer of LawCast. Should you have any questions about today's topic, please visit securitieslawblog.com and lawcast.com or contact me directly. Inquiries of a technical nature are always encouraged.